The worst people often look like they're winning. But life doesn't settle debts in public. It collects in silence. Stoics don't chase revenge. They observe. Because while you're healing in peace, karma is already working and it never misses. You may think they got away with it. The lies, the betrayal, the manipulation. They walked away like nothing happened, but something did. And now life is speaking to them in the only language karma knows, whispers. No one else hears, but they feel every single day. In this video, you'll learn 5 silent signs that someone is already receiving the consequences of how they treated you. Not in front of a crowd, not in court, but in their own life, in their own mind. And in the quiet moments, no one else sees. This is not about revenge. This is about truth. And truth has a voice louder than any scream. It's called silence. Nothing is heavier than pretending to be okay when you're not. But karma doesn't care about appearances. It works through what people feel when no one's watching. The first sign that karma is quietly at work is when they start acting like they've never been better. The person who ghosted you, the one who betrayed your trust, who tore you down, walked away and made it seem like you were the problem. Now, suddenly they're glowing. They post new photos every day, laughing in places you two never went, smiling with people who weren't even around when they had you. And if you're not careful, you might actually believe it. You might scroll through their highlight reel and think, wow, maybe they're really happy without me. But here's the truth. No filter can hide. Real happiness doesn't need to be proven. Fake happiness does. You've seen this before. They go silent for a few days after the fallout, then suddenly, boom. Photos, stories, inspirational quotes, gym selfies, a fake glow-up campaign. One moment they were destroying something real, the next they're hashtagging healing with someone new, like guilt never touched them. But look again. The smile too wide, the eyes distant, the energy desperate because happiness isn't loud. But insecurity always is. Epictetus said it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. That's why a Stoic doesn't argue, doesn't clap back, and certainly doesn't stalk their story for closure. They observe. Because true peace doesn't perform. It just is. And the louder someone tries to prove they've moved on, the more likely they haven't. Karma doesn't need to announce itself. It shows up quietly every night when they go to bed and realize the person they became is the exact reason they lost someone who never wanted to see them hurt. And no number of posts, no pretend joy, no new partner can drown out the sound of a conscience that knows I messed up something real. Let them smile for the camera because you know the truth. The most exhausting lie is faking peace. Karma doesn't always strike like lightning. Sometimes it starts with a subtle erosion, the slow removal of things they thought would never leave. The second sign that someone is silently receiving their karma is when life begins taking back the very things they once held carelessly in their hands. People think karma shows up in dramatic ways, a car crash, a heartbreak, a betrayal. But karma is far more precise than that. It doesn't scream, it doesn't throw tantrums, it simply begins to subtract at first. It's so quiet they don't even notice. They lose small things, a friend who stops responding, a colleague who stops trusting them, an opportunity that slips through their fingers without explanation. But they shrug it off. They think it's just life, just bad luck, just coincidence until the pattern continues and continues and continues. And eventually they realize they're standing in the ruins of everything they once mocked, minimized, or ignored. Maybe they used to say you were too emotional, that you cared too much, that you overreacted, when really you were the only one reacting with heart. You tried. You stayed up late texting them through their breakdowns. You forgave them when they forgot your worth. You believed in them when they didn't even believe in themselves. And how did they repay you? They rolled their eyes. They joked that you were clingy, needy, too soft for this world. They thought your presence was a given, not a gift. So eventually, you stopped offering. You stopped fighting for someone who never showed up for you. And quietly, you walked away. At first, they felt free, untouched, unbothered. But then the silence started to echo. The messages slowed down. The circle grew smaller. The people they trusted turned out to be exactly like them, selfish, dismissive, transactional. And suddenly all the options they thought they had gone. The support they used to receive without asking missing. The comfort of being deeply understood by someone who actually